back, youth. Let's all stand up for worship. Ada's going to lead this first song.
upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and the children and the children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and the children and the children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and the children and the children. May his favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and the children and the children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He's with you, he's with you in the morning, in the evening, and you're coming and you're going and you're weeping and rejoicing. He's for you, 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 he's for you. Let's go, man. Dear Lord, open our eyes to see ourselves the way that you see us. Open our eyes to see the blessings and opportunities you give us every day so that we can bless others. I thank you for all that you've given us and all that you're going to do. In Jesus' name. We're going to sing this bridge one more time. His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and the children and the children. May his presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, he is with you in the morning, in the evening, and you're coming and you're going and you're weeping and rejoicing. He's for you, 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 he's for you. Let's go, man. As you take your seats, say hi to the person next to you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Youth Tonight. I feel like you guys switched up your seating a little bit. I like it. Change is always good. Welcome to Youth. It is the second week of November, and man, it is going by so fast. Before you know it, it's going to be 2022. Some of you guys are still processing what happened in 2020. So it's coming. Like, time is going by, and I'm so excited that tonight we get to spend some of that time together. I just want to put this out there. What you put into youth tonight, what you put into worship, what you put into the message, into small groups, is what you're going to get out of it. So if you come and all you want to do is talk to your friend, chances are when you leave tonight, all you're going to have to share with your parents when they're like, hey, what'd you learn at youth tonight? And you're just going to be like, oh, all I learned about is what I talked about with my friend the entire service. So I just want you guys to know, and the same is true for life, what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And so just think about that as we move forward. Think about that as we move into a couple weeks coming up in December before January is here. So whatever you're going to put in here and whatever you put into your homework, into your family, into your relationships is what you're going to get out of it. So it's a really important reminder. And I think all of us can be reminded of it, even us adults here who do not have it all figured out, but we are working on that. Well, tonight I have a couple announcements. Actually, one very special announcement that I want you to be aware of. Pete, can you bring up my podium thing? Thank you so much. So Friday, November 19th, which is not this Friday, but next Friday, we have an event called Friendsgiving. We did it last year, and it was a really big success because we got to eat food together, we got to fellowship, and play a couple games. So I want to personally invite each of you to Friendsgiving. It's from 6 to 8 here at the church. Here's how it's going to work. You're going to come at 6, and you're going to bring your own meal. So whether that's Chick-fil-A, whether that's Culver's, Chipotle, Jimmy John's, anything you can possibly think of, you're going to bring it for yourself to eat, and you're going to eat it with your friends. We're going to chit-chat, talk, and then we're going to play some games. And there's also going to be some festive prizes. So if you're into winning prizes, you should really come. It's going to be super fun. So invite your friends too. This is a free event. You don't have to RSVP. You can just come, and it's going to be great. So please join us there. I feel like I'm either going to bring a Qdoba bowl or chicken nuggets, or like little nuggets from Chick-fil-A. So if you come, you'll figure out which one I decided. And maybe I'll wake up on Friday and I'll be craving like Chinese or something. So you never know. But please come, and it's going to be so fun. I can't wait to have that with you guys on the 19th. How many of you guys want to do something fun? Yeah. So I listened to this podcaster. Her name is Annie F. Downs. Have any of you ever heard of her before? It's called the That Sounds Fun podcast. And she interviews super famous people. She interviews just people who are changing the world. And at the end of every interview, she will ask them the question, what sounds fun to you? And I just love that question. So what sounds fun to you tonight? I want to know after service. So come up and tell me. But tonight, before we do that, we're going to have some fun of our own. So everyone, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a partner. And you're going to spread out just a little bit with them. Find a partner and spread out a little bit with them. If you don't have a partner, there's leaders around who will be your partner. So find a partner, spread out just a little bit. The closer to the front you are, probably the better. So the closer to the front you are, the better. So find your partner. Does everyone have one? You guys are partners? Okay. Sammy, are you partners with Pete? Yeah, okay. Have you guys ever heard of the saying, great minds think alike? Okay, let's see how much your mind thinks alike to your partner. So for this game, hey guys, listen up. For this game, you're going to break into pairs. A category will appear on the screen. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. When I say 3, you and your partner have to shout out an answer. If it matches, give yourself a point. If it doesn't, just stay standing. We're going to go on to the next thing. Okay? If it matches, make sure you give yourself a point. So when I say 1, 2, 3, when I say 3, you guys have to shout it out really loud. Okay? How many of you think you're going to win this game with your partner? Because you guys are going to have the most. They think they're going to win. You guys kind of think you're going to win. Let's see how Kate and Trey back there. Let's see how well you guys actually know each other. I don't know if you guys are going to need points, but let's try. Okay. Let's do the first one. Do not talk about it with your partner. Just look at the screen. 1, 2, 3. You're going to shout it out. Just whatever answer you have. Give yourself a point if it matches. Okay. This is Thanksgiving edition. Let's go. Main dish. Main dish. I'm going to count to 3. You just shout it out. Main dish, Thanksgiving edition. 1, 2, 3. Okay. How many of you did not get a point. Who didn't get a point? Okay, Jose and Soren. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, give yourself a point if you got a point. Moving on to the next one. Macy's Day Parade floats. Some of you guys might be too young to even know what that is. Macy's Day, yep, parade float. 1, 2, 3. Did anyone get it? Some of you guys did, okay. Some of you are like, what is a parade float? Yep, you're that young. Okay, give yourself a point if you got it. Next one, please. Side dish. Side dish. 1, 2, 3. You guys talked. I saw it. I saw it. No, it doesn't count. Did you guys, any of you get it right? No? You guys got it? Okay, Nick and Chase are on a roll of 3. That is very impressive. Okay, next one. Football team. Oh, this is so easy for some of you. Football team, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Did anyone say the Lions? No. Did you guys get it? No, you guys lost your streak, but you still got 3. Did anyone get it? Okay. Easy to say Vikings, right? Like, that's super for some of you guys. Okay. Next one. Oh, dessert. Dessert. 1, 2, 3. You guys can't have talked and said that every answer is going to be turkey because that would count as cheating. TBH. Did anyone get it? What'd you guys pick? Pumpkin pie. You both hate pumpkin pie, but you both said pumpkin pie. Yeah? Okay. Next one. Tradition. 1, 2, 3. Those of you who keep saying turkey, that's way too easy. Way too easy. Okay. Did anyone get a point that time besides saying turkey for the 5th time in a row? Some of you guys did? What did you say? Thanksgiving. Interesting. Okay. Do we have one more, guys? Drink. This will be our last one. Drink. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Hearing some very bizarre drinks. What'd you guys say? That's negative points right there. Okay, everyone go ahead and sit down. Who had the most points, honestly? Who honestly had the most points? Chase and Nick had 3. Which one did you get wrong? Interesting. Did anyone get more than 3? 7. At least 4. Okay. Grace and Ava, come talk to me afterwards. I trust you guys, but I'm going to examine some of those answers you guys had. It was, kind of smart to say turkey for every answer, but also, like, that's just super lame because turkey, who drinks turkey? Come on. Like, there's no such thing as a football team called turkey, so therefore that wouldn't work for everything. Did anyone pick a football team besides Vikings and get it right with your partner? You guys picked the Lions? Oh. Oh, boys, I know they play Thanksgiving Day. You want to know why? We're going to start off tonight talking about a story. My first first off, today is Pete and I's 3rd year anniversary for dating. Yes, thank you. But I have to say that first so you know this. Our first Thanksgiving, we didn't spend it together because we just started dating, and so we weren't, like, really hanging out yet. But our first technical Thanksgiving, I drive with him and his family to Michigan. So we're only dating. I drive with them to Michigan. I didn't spend that Thanksgiving with my family. I wanted to go to Michigan and meet all of his extended family. We get there. Of course, I am just meeting his grandparents. I'm just meeting his aunts and uncles and cousins. And guess what he decides to do on Thanksgiving Day? Go to the Lions game in Detroit, Michigan. Do you know how I felt, man? I was like, I'm just going to spend my first Thanksgiving in Michigan, a state I've never been, with people I don't really know that well. It was still a good Thanksgiving, but ladies, know your worth, know your value, know how to spend your Thanksgiving well. That's all I'm saying. Did they even win? No. When do they win? Come on, let's be honest. When do the Lions win? They never win. But I'm super excited to be here with you guys tonight. Grayson, Ava will talk afterwards, so we can go over your answers for that game. Very fun. Even though we're talking about Thanksgiving, I have to make a confession. I put the tree up on Saturday with all the decorations for Christmas. Does anyone have their Christmas stuff up yet? Aiden does? All year round. Okay, that's fair. Aiden, Ava, you have your Christmas stuff up? Okay, when did you put it up? Okay, so they are one day ahead of me. Okay, I like it. How many of you just aren't planning on decorating at all? Some of you, okay. For Christmas. You put the tree up already, yes. I'm so excited. I am looking forward to Thanksgiving, but I have to admit, guys, hey, over here, attention. I feel like they put Thanksgiving and Christmas too close together because it's like you want to set up and celebrate Christmas before Thanksgiving even happens. So, I don't know. I wish it was a little more spread out so I could kind of enjoy it a little more, but it's also really fun to have both of them. Who thinks they have the most bizarre food that their family has ever eaten at Thanksgiving? Hot wings. That's the most bizarre food you've ever eaten at Thanksgiving meal. Deep fried Oreos. Pizza. Okay. Deep fried Oreos. Anyone else? No one in this section thinks they have a bizarre food they eat? Bisola. Say that really loud. Goat. Oh. Like you guys eat that instead of turkey? Your family does. Goat. Okay, I feel like goat wins so far. Anyone over here thinks they have a bizarre food that their family has eaten on Thanksgiving? Leftover Chick-fil-A? Oh, steak fillet. That's not bizarre. On Thanksgiving, okay. That's just bougie. That's what it is. Don't argue me. Anyone over here have something bizarre that their family has eaten on Thanksgiving? Bryce? Turkey? That's not bizarre. Everyone eats it, though. It's only bizarre if nobody eats it. Why? Did you have your hand up or no? No? Who likes cranberry sauce? Raise your hand if you like cranberry sauce. I don't really know. I haven't really remembered trying it. Ooh, that sounds so good. Well, while we're talking about all the yummy food for Thanksgiving, this is the most basic question, but what is Thanksgiving really about? Giving thanks. Being thankful. Giving thanks, being thankful. That's so right. I feel like Thanksgiving is about kind of zooming out of your life a little bit and like looking at your entire life like overall and just like what you have to be thankful for. Because there's so many things we have to be thankful for. And even if you find yourself this Thanksgiving going through a tough time, I feel like there's at least one thing you can see in your life, whether that's just the gift of salvation that God has given you, whether that's a close friendship, whether that's maybe some friends here at youth, or the fact that you have like running water in your house or a warm, there's so many things to be thankful for. So no matter where you are this season of Thanksgiving, I really challenge you to be thankful for like that one thing. But tonight, as we continue our series, last week we talked about the foundation of what we have to be thankful for, and that was the gift of Jesus dying on the cross for us. What did we do last week that was different than what we've done before? We took communion, yeah. And so like that's kind of the core of what we were thankful for. And so we started off this month with that. We have next week, we're going to talk about another thing about thankfulness. And then we have a week off, Thanksgiving week. So don't show up Thanksgiving week. We're not going to be here. But tonight I'm actually not going to be talking really about thankfulness. I'm going to be talking about the thing that is opposite of thankfulness that a lot of us are really good at. Can anyone guess? The opposite of Thanksgiving. So when you're not like telling people how thankful you are, you're probably, yes, Weasel? Say that louder. Being ungrateful, yes. And that comes out in a certain form. Starts with a C, really close. complaining. You were about to say that. So instead of just talking to you guys about how we should be thankful, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, we're going to talk about complaining. How many of you would agree that you're kind of good at it? Yep. I mean, it depends on the day, yes. Some of us would agree we're really good at complaining. And so we're going to talk about it a little bit. When I was younger, I was thinking about this. When I was younger, I was good at complaining. I was good at complaining about two specific things consistently. The first is that I was always cold. How many of you, when you're cold, you just complain about it? Like, I'm so cold. I was really good at complaining that I was cold when I was growing up. The second thing, which I feel like some of you can relate to, is I was good at complaining about my younger brother. He liked to make messes, leave them around. I mean, I just complained about him all the time, and so God really convicted me of that. But when I was younger, that's what I complained about. And I'm sure all of you can think of at least one thing that you kind of consistently complain about a lot, whether that's a sibling, whether that's school, whether that's your parents, a relationship. I mean, just anything. Some of you are really good at consistently complaining about it. Nowadays, guys, real talk, Pete listed for me, and I listed myself 4 things I'm good at complaining about. How many of you know it's good to ask someone that is around you a lot, maybe what you're good at complaining about? Because sometimes you don't even know it. Let's be honest, you do it all the time, but it just becomes almost white noise that you don't even realize you're complaining about it. So I know what I complain about now, in that when it is too hot outside, I complain about that all the time. When it's too hot in our apartment because our AC is junk and it doesn't work, and then you open the windows and it's still hot outside. I'm really good at complaining when it's hot. I've learned that when I'm cold, you just put on more layers and it's fine. Questions at the end. Thank you. Second thing, I'm very good at complaining about when messy dishes are in the sink when I wake up in the morning. Almost seriously, go to bed. The kitchen is perfect. I'm talking perfect. There's not one crumb on that counter. And then I wake up to go make my delicious coffee, and then there's suddenly dishes in the sink, and there's only 2 people that live in our apartment, so we all know who that is, right? He told me I'm good at complaining about that, so I can tell that story. One thing I complain about, you guys are going to be sick of me talking about what I complain about. That's kind of the point. I complain about when people walk in our house with their shoes on. Mostly Pete does it, and let's be honest, because we're the only ones who live there. But it drives me nuts because the carpet, that's your precious soil that you're going to walk on with your good socks and stuff. And to me, just please don't. If you ever come to my apartment, please just don't walk with your shoes on everywhere. It's very annoying. Lastly, I will admit, this is the last thing I'll talk about. I'm good at complaining when people are slow drivers. Do not sit in the fast lane if you're going to go under the speed limit. That's not what it's for, okay? There are people who have places to go. Please don't sit in the fast lane if you're going to be going under the speed limit. I will honk you down, dude. So, again, I'm just good at complaining people are slow. When people walk slow and I'm just trying to walk my normal speed, that's really annoying to me too. So anyways, these are all things that Jesus is convicting me on, and I'm getting much better at it. But I feel like this Thanksgiving, God is really showing me, and maybe he's going to show you tonight and throughout the days to come, that it's really easy to complain. But Thanksgiving is a really great opportunity for us to kind of get out of that swimming pool of complaining and focus on the good things that we have and take some practical steps to work towards not complaining and to being more thankful about our lives. Believe it or not, the Bible talks a lot about people that complained. And probably the group that maybe you guys are most familiar with is the Israelites when they were in Egypt. So kind of a backstory, they were there. Check it out. The Israelites are God's chosen people. They're his favorite people. He is going to make them into, he's going to guide them to the promised land. They're Jesus is going to be the heir of them. So they're his chosen people. And you can read about this in Exodus. And yet, somehow, despite all of God's faithfulness, all of his goodness in their life, all of the miracles that he performed for them, they were still really good at complaining. And if you read through the book of Exodus and Numbers, you will read story after story of these people complaining. And they always seem to complain just after God had did something so cool in their life. It's like they find themselves complaining again. And I want to talk about them a little bit tonight and how we can really avoid that. So they were in Egypt and they were under, does anyone know his name? Pharaoh, yep. And they were slaves. And check it out. Moses the man, he comes in and he's going to rescue them. And a lot of you probably heard this story, so I'm going to recap it. He comes in to rescue them from slavery, okay? It's like when your parents, they come to like take you out of school early. Like imagine that, but like 100,000 times better, okay? They come to rescue you. Or like, growing up when we all probably have a story of like that really weird babysitter who was like super strict and mean, and like your parents are coming home and they're like gonna relieve the babysitter and make the babysitter go home, and you're like, I'm getting rescued, I'm so excited. Okay? So that's what's happening. Check it out. The Israelites, they were complaining that Moses was gonna rescue them out of Egypt. They complained twice before they even got out of slavery. Like that's how normalized complaining was in their lives. And then let me just read through a couple of the accounts of them complaining. After they had been out of Egypt, they complained that the taste of the water bothered them. They complained because they didn't like the bread that Moses gave them in the desert. Let me tell you this, they didn't have any other food supply, and yet Moses provided them with bread through the miracle of God, and they were complaining about the taste. They complained when they were thirsty. I mean, not just like, I'm thirsty, like they were like straight up complaining the entire time. They got impatient waiting for the 10 Commandments, so they complained. And then we talked about this a while ago. They built a golden calf idol to worship. So after God had already parted the sea, he had delivered them out of slavery. He had provided food and water in the desert. They decide that, oh, sorry, Moses, you're taking too much time to bring me down the 10 Commandments. Instead, I'm going to build a golden calf to worship and bow down to, and this thing's going to give me everything I ever desired. That's what they did when they complained. They complained about the food once again. God sent quail for them to be able to eat, and they just complain about it. Like, they sound like my nieces and nephews at dinner time sometimes. And they're just complaining about the vegetables. They're complaining about what mom made them, and I'm just sitting there like, eat your food. Or Auntie CJ is not going to be very happy. Trust me, I have done that before. It's not a pretty sight. They complained. Check this out. They complained, Miriam and Aaron, they complained about Moses' leadership. So Miriam and Aaron were Moses' older siblings. And so Moses was leading them. He was their fierce leader. He was the man. And these two siblings decided to complain to all of the Israelites that their brother was having poor leadership. Parts of it was, this part that I'm talking about is from Numbers 12. It's a really good point. But they complained. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm going to lead a tribe, I need my siblings to be supporting me, okay? I don't need them being the ones starting the beef and telling me that I'm doing a poor job. And it's so kind of funny because I'm almost the youngest in my family. And I can totally picture if I was Moses and two of my older siblings were on the journey with me and they started complaining. I can see where this would be going, and it's not good. So I feel really bad for Moses. They complained in Numbers 14 that, check it out, God was bringing them to the promised land, the place that was flowing with milk and honey. They didn't want to enter the promised land that God wanted to give them because they were afraid, so they complained. It's like saying, it's like your parents giving you a brand new car for your 18th birthday, and you're too afraid to get into it, so you complain about it, and then you just never get into it. Like, literally, that's what it's like. And yet, they complained, so they didn't get the promised land. Yeah, right? And the Israelites, they didn't like Moses, and they wanted to kill him. They complained about him, and they wanted to kill him. And lastly, they complained about the water once again. I don't know, did they want it filtered or purified? I don't understand why they keep complaining over and over again about water. Dude, it's okay. But the truth is, as easy as it is for us in this room to point fingers at the Israelites about, look what God did, and yet you complained again, we are guilty ourselves of complaining about just random things that maybe get us annoyed, or things that test our patience, or things that don't go the way that we had thought they would. So tonight, how do you fight against the tendency to complain? First off, you have to understand that complaining is a drain. Everyone say drain. Complaining is a drain. Did you know that there is psychological research that proves that when you complain, you are actually rewiring your brain so that it becomes its thinking becomes ingrained with that complaining. So it's almost like your brain becomes accustomed to complaining the more that you do it. Your brain is responding to that in a negative way. And it makes you feel, typically when you complain, it doesn't make you feel good. Like after you rant and complain about something, you typically don't really feel that great. But your brain becomes accustomed to complaining, so you do it more and more and more and more. And in one series of studies that were done, researchers tracked people's moods before and after hearing a complaint. And as predicted, listening to others made people feel worse about themselves. Have any of you ever left a conversation where someone was complaining the whole time and you felt better about yourself? No. I mean, I have been guilty of leaving a conversation and I was complaining the whole time, and then I just walk away and I just feel so icky inside. I was like, why did I do that? I just wasted so much breath and energy and time and thought complaining about something that was so silly. So the complainer felt worse and those around them felt worse. So it becomes draining. And yet complaining is all around us. How many of you heard someone complain at school today? Yeah. How many of you, someone was complaining on the family car on the way to church today? Some of you you might have to, yeah, right? Right? It's so easy to do. And while complaining is not refreshing, when we choose to not complain, it actually gives life to those around us. Philippians 4:14 through 16 says this: do everything without complaining and arguing so that no one can criticize you. Live clean, innocent lives as children of God, shining like bright lights in a world full of crooked and perverse people. Hold firmly to the word of life. Then on the day of Christ's return, I will be proud that I did not run the race in vain and that my work was not useless. I've read the verse, do everything without complaining and arguing so many times in my life. And if we had to live by only that one verse for the rest of your life, I bet almost all of us would fail at it. Do everything without complaining and arguing. It's really hard. So how are you draining yourself and others around you? By griping and whining, even if it's just in your head, and maybe you don't even say it out loud, but it's just in your head, and it affects those around you because it puts you in a bad mood, and then it puts other people around you in a bad mood. So take a minute to think about the one thing that you complain about the most. Just take a minute and think about it in your head. The one thing that you find yourself complaining about the most. Does anyone want to shout out theirs? Being tired, your brother, school, sister. Anyone else want to just shout out what they really have identified in their life as the major thing they complain about the most? Work, school, food, people being slow. That bothers you too, Callie? Okay, we'll have to pray about it together afterwards. I feel that. Anyone else? Siblings? Car prices? Yeah. Why? Did you have your hand up? No? Yeah, that's true. Gas prices. Okay, those are some really good things to know about yourself. I think it's really important that when you identify what you complain about the most, that is the first step, Caleb and Logan, that's the first step to changing that in your life. So if you shouted out something, if maybe you took that minute to think about it, I'm so proud of you, because change doesn't happen until you realize that there's a problem that needs a solution to it. So good job. The first step to fixing the problem is realizing that there is one. And even if you didn't shout it out, I'm sure all of you have at least a couple things that you are most likely the easiest to complain about. So today when I was going through my sermon, I found myself complaining, not about the 4 things that I mentioned, but each day I write down what homework I need to get done. Like I put it on this little next to a little box, so when I get it done, I can check it off. Yesterday, my goal was to reply to 2 people in a forum, okay? And you have to understand something about me. I don't go to bed well at night and sleep good unless I know that everything that I need to get done is done. Anyone else with me? Like, when it's done, like, then I can sleep, okay? I go yesterday to reply to 2 people in a forum. The forum, by the way, was due tonight. Like, it's due tonight at midnight. Only one person posted in that forum, and there's about 25 of us in that class. And so, in order for me to cross this off my list, I need to reply to 2 people, and only one person posted in each forum. Do you guys know how much I complained last night before I went to bed? Because guess what? They still hadn't replied or posted it, and it was like almost midnight. Then I come to the church today, and I'm like, I got to reply. I got to do this. I got to finish it. Because again, I feel better about myself going to bed tonight if it's done. It's about 3 o'clock this afternoon. I just go to pop on and see if I can reply to someone. And it only takes a little while. It's not that long. No one had posted to the forum yet, and it's due tonight at midnight. Like, what are people's problems? And so I was like ranting, and I'm like to Pete, and he's, of course, just like has one AirPod in, half listening, because he's like, I'm so tired of listening to you complain about this. And finally, I'm just like, okay, I got convicted because instead of complaining that no one else had posted, I could focus on my energy and my thoughts on something else, something that I could actually work towards, because it's beyond my control if someone else chooses to post to the forum or not. And so I chose, instead of doing that, I chose to walk out to the fellowship hall and have a conversation with someone else. And let me tell you, I had a lot more life given back to me instead of sitting up in my office complaining about something that I could not control. So even adults complain all the time. It's not just students, I promise. But the truth is, once you choose and once you identify what you complain about the most, you get to choose your attitude. So the first thing to changing a lot of our complaining is to realize that you get to choose your attitude. Complaining doesn't fix your situation, and it won't make it any better. Maybe if you talk about what's wrong and then you work towards a solution, that's one thing. But just complaining about someone or something and not having a response or a plan to help fix it, it's not going to get you anywhere. So the first thing is to realize that you get to choose your attitude when it comes to complaining. Sometimes people get confused with their attitude and their emotions. So Bella might think, because something isn't going her way, she can't like cry or be upset or be frustrated about it, because that would be having a bad attitude. And that's not what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Sometimes, or actually all the time, our emotions are a response to what we are feeling. So if Bella's feeling really happy, her emotional response might be to smile, to laugh, or even cry. How many of you sometimes cry when you're really happy? Some of you. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah, if you're laughing so hard, you're crying, okay? Right? But your attitude, so your emotions are a response to what you are feeling. But your attitude is your response to a circumstance despite what you are feeling. So maybe Allison today, she said she's really good at complaining when she's tired. Maybe let's say today Allison had to go do her homework. I know you're homeschooled. And she is tired. Like she didn't get good sleep. She's just really maybe mentally tired too. And instead of Allison doing her homework all grumpy and upset and acting bored, she's going to have a good attitude. She might not be feeling excited to do homework. She might not be feeling super happy to be doing it. But even though she's tired and inside she's grumpy, she's choosing to have a positive attitude because that's the one thing that she can control. So remember, you guys have the chance to control your attitudes. Second thing, and we'll go through this, and then we'll have one final thought. If you guys want to stop complaining, y'all need to pop your own bubbles. Pop your own bubbles. Everyone like kind of like pretend you're popping. You know, like in like the bubbles that kids always blow. Yeah. So you just pop it. Okay. All of you guys, including myself, we all need our bubbles popped because guess what? Life is not always about us. Do you know what's really interesting? I thought about this. Have you ever thought about the fact that God positioned every living thing in such a way that we can't physically see ourselves? Unless you look in a mirror or look at glass or water. Do you think about that? Like right now, I can't see myself like the way Bella can see me or Ada can see me or Nick can see me. You know what I'm saying? God created everyone with like their eyes up here and not like on their hands. Because imagine if like we had our eyes on our hands and we always just be like looking at ourselves like, oh my gosh, so cool. Look at Bobby's hair. Bobby's hair is so good today. Oh my goodness. Like look at myself. You know what I'm saying? Like she wrote eyes on her hands. That does not count, Allison. But sometimes we have to pop our own bubble and realize that as much as we like to talk about ourselves, think about ourselves, work on ourselves, when we put into perspective that life is not about us, when we like destroy all the mirrors that are surrounding us so we can see ourselves, we get to see others more clearly. And you can really focus on your attitude being good and positive, but then also on serving other people. So maybe today or tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to think about, instead of yourself, you can think about how you can help out at home. You can think about who is hurting in your life, maybe who needs a friend. Man, sometimes so many of us are focused on needing friends in our own lives. Yeah, we don't even look at someone else who needs a friend in their own life. Like we're so focused about, I need a friend, I need someone to bring me compatibility, yet we're not even out there looking for people who are broken and who could really, really feel loved by a friendship that you could provide with them. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, maybe you could ask the question instead of, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do today that's going to be so fun. You could be like, how can I be a blessing to my parents today? How can I make sure that my brother or sister feel loved today? How can I make sure that I am being helpful and giving in my family? And lastly, if you guys want to really try your hardest to like eliminate complaining in your life, even though it's so easy to do, I totally get it. We can understand that life is a gift. It's not something that we just get because we earned it. Life in itself is a gift that God has given each and every one of you. And seeing life as a gift, it somehow makes us more grateful for what we have than instead of focusing on what we don't have. There's this girl, her name's Anne, and she wrote a book about like 1,000 gifts. And so essentially what she did is like, you guys know those like little bows you put on Christmas presents? Like the stick-on ones you like put on Christmas presents? Essentially, she like took a bows and she started putting them on everything in her house because she started realizing that everything that God had already given her was a gift in itself. And imagine what your house would look like if instead of this Thanksgiving, you're worried about all the good Black Friday deals, but instead you were like putting those little bows on things that you already have. And although it would be weird to like put a bow on Pete, I wish I could put like 1,000,000 on him because he's such a great gift to not only to me, but to our families and to our ministry and to other people. I know, right? So sweet. But no, seriously, like there are so many gifts that God has already given you, but sometimes all we can focus on is like the gift that we don't have yet. Like anyone actually needs the newest Xbox or the newest Xbox game, or like anyone actually needs another pair of shoes, girls. Like, and guys, right? So many of us have already such great gifts in our life that God has given us, and we're so focused on the things we don't have. I'm going to finish with this verse. It's found in Romans. It says this: we can rejoice too when we run into problems and trials, for we know that they help us develop endurance. And endurance develops strength of character, and character strengthens our confident hope of salvation. And this hope will not lead to disappointment. This is God's greatest gift to us, the hope of salvation, the hope of eternity. This hope will not lead to disappointment, for we know how dearly God loves us because he has given us the Holy Spirit to fill our hearts with his love. The next week, I challenge you guys, instead of complaining, remember 3 things. Remember that complaining is draining to you and to those around you, even if you don't think it's affecting them, it does. Remember that you have the choice to decide your attitude when it comes to complaining. You may not be feeling grateful right now, and that's okay, because maybe there are tough things going on in your life, but you still have the choice to have a positive attitude, an attitude that reflects Jesus and reflects his love for us. And then lastly, your life is a gift. It's not only a gift to you, but it's a gift to those around you. And there are so many little gifts that God has already given you, whether it's a family member, whether it's relationships, your house, your bed. I mean, there are a list of things that you could be little gifts to. And so this Thanksgiving, let's not focus on what we don't have, but on what God has already given us because he loves us so much. Will you guys stand with me as we pray and then we're going to split up into small groups. I started this thing, I don't know, 2 years ago maybe, but I've been really good at it this year. Every day I journal. Every day, I'm that person who writes down 3 things that I'm thankful for. But here's the thing. If I wake up at, let's say 8 a.m., I have set myself up for this. I don't write about 3 things that I'm thankful for the night before. I don't write about 3 things I'm thankful for the day before, the week before, or this past month. Each day that I journal, especially if it's in the morning, I only allow myself to write about 3 things that I'm thankful for that morning. Because guess what? If the only thing I've done is get out of bed, brush my teeth, make coffee, and sit down, there's got to be 3 things that I can be thankful for just in that individual day. And so that's really challenged me to think outside the box of, I can't be thankful because I haven't experienced life today. Guess what? God woke me up that day, so that's something I could be thankful for. I mean, I got a toothbrush and toothpaste. That's something to be thankful for. I mean, we all know what it's like when someone doesn't brush their teeth. Like, whoo, that's got to keep us from complaining, right? So I could be thankful for that. I could be thankful that the house is perfect temperature and that I'm not freezing cold or burning hot. So each day this week, guys, I won't see you till next Wednesday. I really challenge you to think outside the box of what you have to be thankful for. And complaining will be a lot harder to do. Will you guys bow your heads with me tonight? Jesus, thank you so much for tonight, and thank you for all of these wonderful people. Thank you for our time together, and thank you for letting us meet. And thank you for the days ahead. We are so hopeful that we get to meet again. We're so hopeful that you are going to continue to help us grow into the people that you want us to be. We love you and thank you. In your name I pray. Amen. You guys are dismissed into small groups. Ladies, you can join us over here. We're going to meet here for a second.